The Prophet Muhammad, in a single night, crossed stars, planets and galaxies as he ascended from the earth towards the heavens. Now, Allah has mentioned in the Quran that everything between the earth and the sky prostrates to him. This means that all stars, galaxies, planets, mountains, and trees worship Allah. But how is that possible? Prostration happens in a particular way, and we have never seen stars and planets worship like us. Yet Allah has repeatedly said in the Quran that all these things worship Him. So there must be something common among all these objects in the universe. Many years ago, the entire world believed that Earth was the center of the universe. People thought the Earth was stationary, that it did not rotate or move. But about 400 years ago, Galileo, an Italian scientist, aligned two lenses together and discovered that by doing so, distant objects could be seen up close. At small scales, telescopes did exist before, but they were mainly used for military and maritime purposes. Galileo, however, improved the telescope and, for the first time in human history, pointed it towards the sky. Through this, he observed the sun and moon closely for the first time and began observing their movements. If we combine around 1,300 Earths, it equals the size of Jupiter. Galileo observed that, like other planets, Jupiter is round. However, the light on Jupiter kept changing during different days of the month. He also observed similar phenomena on Venus and Saturn. All of this could only be possible if these celestial bodies were revolving around the sun, not the Earth. Galileo then shared his findings with the world. The center of the universe is not the Earth, but the sun. Hearing this, all the churches in Europe turned against him because the Pope at that time, along with the entire world, believed that Earth was the center of the universe. As a result, Galileo was sentenced by the church to house arrest for the rest of his life. But Galileo continued his research, and eventually the world accepted his findings. Even the Pope, 350 years after Galileo's death, publicly apologized, admitting that Galileo was right and they were wrong. Gradually, we discovered that the Earth is not the center of the universe. It revolves around the sun, and even the sun is not a big deal. It is just a tiny part of the Milky Way galaxy, which itself is made up of billions of stars. These billions of stars revolve together in a circular motion. Just like we revolve around the sun, billions of suns like ours revolve around something else, a supermassive black hole. This black hole, which is millions of times larger than our sun, holds the entire galaxy in a circular orbit, just like the sun holds Earth, Jupiter, Mars, and other planets in their orbits. But even the galaxy is not that big. Many galaxies, together, form a small cluster. Thousands of such clusters together make a supercluster, and there are thousands of superclusters in the universe. Now, notice something. All stars, galaxies, and planets have one thing in common. Everything in the universe revolves around some other object. And when the Prophet Muhammad ascended to the heavens, he saw angels at Bayt al-Ma'mur, not praying like us, but also revolving around something. But what does revolving have to do with worship? Allah has said that all these things worship Him. Do you know in which context Allah mentioned this? In Surah al-Hajj. In Hajj, Muslims from all over the world go to the holiest place in Islam, the Kaaba, and circle around it repeatedly. What is the meaning of this circling? When a Muslim circles the Kaaba, he is not doing it alone. At that moment, he joins the worship of moons, planets, stars, galaxies, clusters, all together. These celestial bodies do not worship like us. Rather, when we circle the Kaaba, we worship like them. In that verse, Allah didn't just mention stars, galaxies, and planets, but also mountains, trees, and animals. These don't revolve in circles, or do they? Thousands of years ago in ancient Greece, there was a concept that everything in the universe is made up of tiny particles called atoms. This idea was forgotten for nearly 2,000 years, but about 200 years ago, research on this concept resumed, and scientists discovered that the atom is not the smallest particle. It contains even smaller particles like protons, neutrons, and electrons. Protons and neutrons are always in the center of the atom, while electrons continuously revolve around them. Every single thing in the universe, whether willingly or not, revolves around something. And when a Muslim goes to perform Tawaf, circumambulation, around the Kaaba, he joins a form of worship that includes everything from electrons inside atoms to the largest objects in the universe. Planets, stars, galaxies, and even the angels at Bayt al-Ma'mur. Perhaps this is why performing Tawaf is the greatest act of worship in Islam. So, when Allah said in Surah al-Hajj that all things worship Him, it doesn't mean they worship like us. Rather, by performing Tawaf around the Kaaba, we worship Allah like them. But every one of these things has a fixed time for its revolving, and when that time ends, every person will know what they have brought with them.